What's up, everybody? It's Terry, Nashville Fit Magazine, and we're here today with
Thomas Latimer and
Kailey Farmer
of the NWA.
There we go. Yeah. Thomas, where are you from?
England originally, a small mining town called Chesterfield. It's just in the centre of England. It's notable for its crooked spire. But, unless you were passing through, there'd be no reason to visit.
I'm from a similar town in Ohio.
Totally on the same page there.
Very, very, very much the same.
Yeah.
When I hear an English accent, I want to hear everything that you have to say. So,
Well, most people think I'm Australian.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've been here 10, 12 years, and I guess that's what happens when you mix American and English. It turns into Australian, apparently.
Right.
So,
Camille, what about you? Where are you from?
I'm from Durham, North Carolina.
Okay.
Bull City.
So what the heck are you guys doing in Nashville?
I ended up there because of NWA, because at the time I moved back home for a while, moved back in with the parents. You know how that goes. And I was like, I can't do this. So someone I knew had a room available in Nashville, and they were a part of the NWA. So I roomed with them for a while, and then
I was moving back. I was wrestling predominantly on the UK independents. My green card and things was there's a certain amount of time you can be out of the country before they go, well, if you're not going to be here using your green card, you got to split. So I came back, and then we ended up, both kind of coming into the NWA around the same time, me a little bit later on than you. And then that was it. We just made it work there in Nashville, didn't we?
Yeah.
been home ever since.
Nice. I mean, I feel like that's a lot of us transplant stories.
Yeah.
Being from here originally,
Right.
it's the same thing. So what inspired you both to get into wrestling? I know it's a different answer for each one of you.
Mm-hmm.
Was this a long time passion, or is it something that one thing led into? What's that story look like?
Yeah, so I think our answers are very different, because I grew up watching wrestling, but I never watched it and thought, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went to college. I had quote-unquote normal jobs, and one time I just went to this independent show with my dad, and I was watching it, and I had this sort of epiphany. I was like, I can be a professional wrestler. Like, I used to act when I was younger. I've always played sports. It's kind of a mixture, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I was like, I just Googled how to become a professional wrestler, and I found a wrestling school and went from there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
For me, the second I saw Mick Foley get tossed off a cell through a table, I thought, that's exactly what I wanted. I don't know. There was nothing else that really grabbed me as a kid. I'm not book smart. I'm terrible at maths, but I figured, well, I'd probably be okay making a living, throwing myself around, play fighting. Essentially, I get to just continue acting like I'm 10. Okay,
right.
Great, sign me up. But for me, it was always about getting to WWE. That was always the goal. At least it was when I was younger. But it definitely, it was, for me, getting to America and wrestling for WWE would be like me becoming an astronaut and walking on the moon. Impossible. So I was determined, no matter what, I was going to get to America, and I was going to wrestle for the WWE. And I did achieve that. I just didn't give up. But it was, when I think and look back, it is pretty amazing, because at least back then, only a small amount of Brits got that opportunity. So I mean, it took many, many years to get to America and get hired and things like that. But it was just even moving to America for me was a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
Glad you came.
I'm not leaving unless they kick me out.
So you're in Nashville, Tennessee, right? Everybody's thinking everyone moves here for music, and some for film, right? Like, there's this whole perception of, if I just get there, maybe I'll be successful. What does overnight success look like for you guys? How many years have you been in?
Yeah, exactly. You quote that because I was like, "There's no overnight."
There's no.
When people look at it,
you know that,
right? They think it's overnight, but it's like, no, I put in this amount of time that you've never seen, right? Yeah. So for me, I started training in 2016, and I've been with the NWA, making a living doing this since 2018.
I started when I was 16, and I'm 36 now, so it's been 20 years. And obviously, there was a lot less wrestling and sort of events and things like that earlier on. So I got to about 18, that's when I was predominantly wrestling all the time. There's definitely not. And then I was trying out for WWE for 5 years before they finally hired me. And then after that, I went to Impact Wrestling, and now we're here with the NWA. But success for me at 36 is just going to be having a good last part of my career, however many years I've got left, 4 or 5, who knows. Making it a positive end to my career. I'm trying to be healthy and happy and stay sober and things like that. That to me is success. Success was, making it to WrestleMania, getting a video game, T-shirts or
Right.
action figure, all that kind of stuff. Money in the bank, house paid off. That isn't going to happen for me. I took the long way around. So being healthy and happy, and just having a good last part of my run while I've got the right mindset, that to me will be success.
I love that. That's a more balanced, idea of success. I think
Yes.
that's what I think that's what a lot of people miss out on, right? Is typically want that highest, the highest level, and that's okay. But what sacrifice?
Totally, and you want to enjoy the ride because we're always trying to get somewhere, and then you forget to enjoy it along the way. 100%. And then when you look back, you're like, man, I wish I'd have.
Because sometimes where you are is where you wanted to be at this point, and then you get there.
Yeah,
and you don't enjoy it.
Yeah, the goalpost is always moving. You always want something, but it is sitting back and going. I generally try and put myself in 12-year-old Thomas's shoes because I'd be really proud and happy with everything that I've done.
That's cool.
I have to look from that aspect because it's very easy to get jaded and bitter and miserable. Well, this guy's getting this, or this is happening. This isn't happening for me. So I always try and take a step back and look at it and go, well, really, what have you got to moan about? Nothing.
Sure. I think that that's an important thing I want to kind of pull back to. So speaking to your childhood self, even now, is there a bar, or is there somebody, there's a mentor, or there's someone that you look up to, both of you, collectively in the wrestling world, that you still pull from and draw from?
Well, I look up to Tom because I trained with him. Because I trained with him all the time. And
I'll take all the credit.
Yeah, he helps me out. And a person I watch a lot of, they're not a mentor because I don't have a personal, but I love watching Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
I like you said pulling stuff. I like pulling stuff from Brock Lesnar. I like the way that he just is, his persona, everything about him. Super cool. I'm lucky to have Bubba Bully Ray here at the NWA now. He was actually my trainer back in the day at Team 3D, and so now he's here, and I can pick ideas from him and pick his brain a little bit. And then of course Jazz is one of our agents here, and she's great to have around. I call her like my mama in wrestling because whenever I have a question inside or outside of wrestling, she's always there and just super cool and humble for everything awesome. She's done in the industry.
Yeah, I look up to a lot of people here at the NWA. Pretty much everyone here, at least the top guys, they've all been somewhere, they've all made money, they've all done something. And so, for me, they're all people that I kind of grew up watching, and now, that we're together as one. So, guys from Trevor Murdoch, Chris Masters, Tyrus, even Nick Aldis, he's, my best friend, and, we came up together and stuff. And, he's done incredibly well in his career. And then Drew McIntyre, Jinder, guys like that, that have been my friends, and I've been able to see them, continue to get better and better and better and become bigger and bigger stars. So there's just, for me, I look up to anyone that's, been there and been able to accomplish more than me.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. I love that I love hearing that from different entrepreneurs on all types of levels, right? Because it's kind of what you are. You got to dig, you got to pull from other people as far as inspiration, but also the business side of things. And you have that mind that you never stop learning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to encourage all the the youngins out there who's trying to do what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've been doing it 20 years, and I still scratch my head sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Still faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
Right?
Because the wrestling as well is very much what's the word? It's everyone else's opinion. So it's like
Subjective.
It's subjective. Someone
Sure.
might really like something, and someone might not. So it's kind of a weird thing where you've just got to kind of go with what feels right, or go with someone. There's two people giving you advice, and one person is John Cena, and one person is some guy that doesn't know anything. Right?
Sure.
Who should I really be listening to? Well,
Sure.
I should definitely listen to Cena.
Yeah.
But wrestling is definitely this is a business you'll learn real quick that you cannot make everyone happy.
No, you can't.
Can't.
Yeah.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So great segue. What does training look like for you both right now? And I assume that you're shooting here currently in Nashville. But what's it also look like on the road?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, well, we've got a few gym memberships. I've got a gym membership, Planet Fitness, at Crunch, Gold's Gym, and so I flit in between all of them just because I'll get bored of, after a while, you're like, well, it'll be better to go here to do legs, or just be able to have that option.
Yeah,
there's a Redcon gym in Nashville too. It's really good. We'd only be able to train there 4 times a month, so I can't bring myself to have like the 4th or 5th membership somewhere. But other than that, on the road, it's just wherever. And I like it when we're on the road getting to train. I mean, we were just at the Chase Plaza in St. Louis, and even that place has a great little gym downstairs. So I was liking when you get to go to quirky little gyms or, see what's going on.
But that's what the Planet Fitness membership is good for, because usually there's always a Planet Fitness.
There's always a Planet
around anywhere you go. And so, once you kind of have figured out how you can get in a pretty good workout at Planet Fitness, I think you've made it.
Right.
You've made it to your training peak when you can get in a really good workout.
You definitely don't go in there buzzing for it.
Yeah, but if you can make it happen, then it's really good. And then we also get Tom is a coach at a wrestling school in Hendersonville called FXC Wrestling.
Okay.
And we get in there before the classes are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we'll typically go in like an hour or 2 early and just roll around just to stay. Because in wrestling, even if you're in shape on the treadmill or anything like that, you're not in ring shape. So it's a totally different type of in shape that you have to be.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of bizarre. Yeah, you can run, you can do sprints, you can do all that stuff. But the wrestling kind of aspect of the cardio, from start, picking up the guy, doing this, doing that, helping the guy, you helping the guy, And generally when you're doing all these things, especially the more dangerous stuff, is when you're further in the match, when you're more tired.
Yeah.
So the more you can be in that ring, blowing up and getting used to moving around, going ducking and diving and weaving and picking this guy up and stop, start, go, blah, blah, blah. Like, that helps you a lot more than it would be running on a treadmill or whatever.
No, that makes sense. So for each of you, what is your training, secret weapon? What's that one thing that you feel like has helped you maybe stay healthy or competitive in that way, ring shape? Is it the extra reps? Is it yoga? You guys like Pilates?
The secret weapon for me is anxiety. and
that's it. Yeah.
Yes, and it's the anxiety of knowing, oof, I have a big match coming up. It's gonna suck. I gotta, because I personally feel like motivation, it comes and goes. But if you have a job to do, it's like you have to do it anyway. And so just getting in the ring for that. Like this match, I knew I was going to have to go really hard this past weekend. And so I got in the ring. Even though I didn't want to, I did not feel good. And just making yourself, I feel like a lot of people, they wait for the motivation to hit. And I hate to tell you, sometimes it's not there. Right. And so to just make a routine, I feel like a routine really helps. And just know, if you got to go to the gym at 5 a.m., wake up and go. And just make it happen, even if you don't feel like it.
Yeah, you can say that into the camera.
Make it happen, even if you don't feel like it. It's the only way you'll succeed.
I think you need goals. I know it can be especially over COVID, we ended up buying a lot of equipment and putting it in the garage. Did we use it? No, but at least we have it. But,
we used it a little bit over COVID.
Right,
we did.
But you need goal. I need goals. I can get into shape for something. Let's just say, okay, I don't have any wrestling for 6 months. I'll still go to the gym, but it won't be. I always kind of need something to be headed to. We all do. We all need goals.
Yeah.
So that helps for me. And then not drinking. I'm nearly 3 years sober in November, and that has been a game changer when it comes to physiques. It's the same with Drew Galloway and Jinder Mahal, some WWE wrestlers. They also don't drink, and their physiques changed overnight too. Alcohol is evil, isn't it? So there's for me, it's just having those small little goals. Because a lot of the time I don't want to train or I don't want to go in, but it's also therapy to me. So if I didn't have that in the day, I wouldn't know what. I'd feel weird. Even if I get there, walk around and go, nah. At least I went.
You tried.
I tried, yeah.
I fully expected one of you to say that the massage chairs at Planet Fitness was a secret weapon.
Oh, the hydro massage.
That's mine anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, tanning beds.
Right?
Yeah, he's a tanning bed guy.
So what is, the relationship you guys are married. Tell us the love story. How did you meet?
First of all, part of the love story, his finger got swollen, guys, and now he's not able to wear his wedding ring, but he's a married man. So
Yeah, that's the excuse. No, he got hurt at the pay-per-view the other day. I have a black rubber ring, and when I got to the back after our match, and I looked, and my whole finger was swollen. I went, oh, and so now my ring doesn't fit. A couple more days, and it'll be back on.
I just said he has to get it tattooed on.
Yeah, you're not like me. I lost mine at the bottom of the pocket. Trampoline park.
No.
I bet there's millions.
The foam pit.
Oh, I just got
when there'd be plastic, all sorts of needles, all sorts. Of
needles. I hope there are needles in there.
Lots
you know,
of change.
Yeah, kids and their needles.
Yeah. No, we met.
We kind of met through
NWA.
Yeah, through NWA.
Okay.
His best friend, he was just talking about Nick Aldis. My role in NWA when I first started was Nick Aldis's insurance policy, so kind of like a female bodyguard, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just, after a show one time, sitting around talking, and Tom's name came up. And I had seen Tom one time at a Gold's Gym in Florida and thought he was hot. So I told Nick, I was like, yeah, he's hot. I like that. And... And Nick kind of just made it happen, and we thought that we were just gonna be friends, if you will, and we turned into more than that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we pretty much lived together ever
Since we met. Yeah.
So, awesome. How long ago was this?
Over 3.5 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
So relationship, deep dive here. What's the most difficult thing about being in a relationship and working together?
For me, it's training with him, because I don't know if any of you guys or you or anybody out there has ever had like their parents help coach them,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a similar thing. It's like you don't want to listen to your parents, right? But if a different coach does the same thing, you listen. And so I think that's the hardest thing is like with him, it's like oh, are you being too hard on me, or you're taking it's just more like, because it's more personal.
Sure.
So that would be for me the hardest part. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not the best person at giving a nice critique. I look for the negative things, and so that's what if I'm not saying anything bad about it, probably means that it was okay or good, so I need to be better at that. But yeah, it is hard to obviously say stuff to Kelly, because any of the other guys could say the same thing in it, but I understand that, right? But that's not a hard thing. Really, it's kind of a blessing being able to work together, being able to travel the world together and wrestle different places, go to Mexico together. And so, like, maybe some people would need that space from your spouse. We pretty much attach the hip at all times, and that works for us.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so we're kind of lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I work with my wife, and I don't know if she would say that we were lucky, but I say that all the time. She sounds much more like you, though.
Yeah.
Just stop telling me how to train. So this question is more directed at you, Camille, and obviously Tom, you can jump in here. But with body issues and body shaming being such a giant thing, there is a love your body movement, which does have its pros and cons. How's that affected you? Do you run up against that on social media? Do people judge you more in a way? Do you feel more critically as a woman being fit than maybe you feel like Tom's looked at?
So I actually think that nowadays, because it's kind of, people have realized it's bad to body shame and stuff like that, it has lessened, so it's not that big of a thing. But on a internal level, when I first started like wrestling and everything, I was actually like doing a bodybuilding show. So I came in jacked and super lean, and it's like that stage readiness you cannot keep up. And so I always felt this like sense of pressure, like, oh, I need to at least look something like that, because that's how I came into it. And my name is the freaking Brick House. So, so I can't one day just come in skinny fat, And so I do put that pressure on myself, and I'm on medication, mental health stuff that affected my metabolism and my insulin resistance, and it made me really big for a while. And that was a big insecurity thing, and because I'm half naked when I wrestle, and everyone's seeing everything. And while no one is going to say anything to me really, and I don't go out looking for it, because if you go looking for it, you might find it.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't feel it from the outside. I felt it internally, like I needed to get it together, So I always have that pressure. But I mean, I do think it's a good pressure, like the body positive movement, like you said, pros and cons. It's great so people can feel more comfortable. It's not like the body standards are up here and people have to reach them anymore. But there is also, they try to say health at every size. Well, if you're morbidly obese, you're probably not healthy. And I do think that there needs to be more of a push like, hey, you can love yourself while working on yourself at the same time. And so I think that's a big important thing about it. Like, love yourself, love the journey, but try to make yourself the best version of yourself possible.
Yeah, and some of that stuff gets lost in translation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I have to be careful because I don't want to get cancelled. But I mean, all these kind of subjects, you again, it's like wrestling. You're not gonna make everyone happy. Mm-hmm. I just feel like we're just living in strange times, very woke times, where everyone is a victim and everyone wants to put the blame on everyone else. So the reason why I'm like this is not because of me; it's because of you. There's no accountability. So as much as, yes, we shouldn't be calling people names and we should be good and respectful to each other, there's also a side of it which is, like you say, it's sometimes it could be a get-out clause or an excuse. And man, I don't know. Like I said, that's as much as I'm willing to talk about because I don't want to get cancelled.
Well, we're also, to me, the being fit and looking a certain way, it is part of the job.
It's also, but that's not to say even the way that when we do a bodybuilding competition or I'm really, really dieting, is that is that healthy? Probably not.
There's extremes on both ends.
Yeah, there's lots of other things that I do and take in the bodybuilding world that aren't exactly healthy and stuff. So it all depends. Essentially, I think that you should be a good person, and if you really think it's going to help other people, then do that. But it's just you always see it from either one side or the other. Whereas we can come together with this, like most things. Like if we do this together, and a few of your ideas, well then life would be a lot easier. Just like in politics, there's some good side from here, good side from that. Let's work together, but no, it'll never be like that because we need tension. We need to be fighting each other. Yeah,
that's the unfortunate part about it. Is there is a side.
There is.
Yeah,
whichever one you're doomed if you do, doomed if you don't.
You're 100% correct, but I think the underlying thing that you're both saying is accountability is really important and balance.
Balance,
right?
Yeah.
Like being able to hear what the other side is saying.
And also being open to the idea that you might be wrong,
right?
Because it's more that people just want to win rather than it being about figuring out the issue.
And I think that's a lot of the problem, right? In social media, in the fitness industry specifically, we've lost our identity and we don't know what humility is, which is that ability to reach across the aisle and be like, hey, I might not know all this stuff.
Yes.
Right. Well, I appreciate this interview. Is there any last words you want to share with the Nashville community? Anything you want to promote? Any of your personal brands? Any camera here and here?
Yeah, I don't know which camera to look at. I would just like to say thanks for taking the time to watch this, read this, however you're getting it, and everyone to go out there, like we said before, make the best version of yourself. Just stay healthy for your mental, physical, everything. And then, of course, check out the NWA. That's NWA Wrestling on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Fight TV.
That's right, yes. No, keep kicking ass at the gym. Force yourself to go. We're excited to be a part of this magazine, aren't we? So thank you guys for having us on. I'm sponsored by Rival Nutrition. They do great protein powders and pre-workouts and multivitamins and everything. I drink a lot of protein powder, so I want it to taste good. And I know that everyone, if they're going to be sponsored by someone, is going to say, yeah, that's really tasty. But it actually is really tasty. I wouldn't be using it if I didn't think it was good. And the code for that is Latimer 20 for some money off. And then chicken pound, right?
Yep.
You want to tell them about that?
Chicken pound, it's pre-made chicken, and you can put it in the freezer. You can put it in to, save it. And then you put it in the microwave, the air fryer, and then if you're really lazy, it's just perfect because the chicken's already made for you, and we're really lazy.
Very lazy. If it can't be microwaved, I don't want to
Yeah, we just like to microwave everything.
And what would be amazing right now is if that chicken just popped up right here.
I know.
I have seen my back. Yeah, okay, yeah.
There'll be a lower third.
Yeah, you need a Vanna White.
And then if you want money off of that code is
Latimer 10.
No, it's
just Latimer?
Yeah, it's
just Latimer.
Okay, just
it's
Latimer.
Just Latimer.
Sorry.
I know his code better than you.
We'll put that in the outtakes.
Yeah.
Again, guys, thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
I
So.
appreciate